advice, and it's by user deleted. Recovered David DM23. I, 33 male, cancelled my wedding and ended up breaking up with my 31 female fiance because of her parents. Hi y'all, where to start? Wow, I've been with my fiance for 4 years and we've been living together for the last 2 in a house that we bought together. We were supposed to get married in 3 months, but we had a situation where her parents just turned on me. It all started when my fiance and her mom went to take a look at her wedding dress. As they were in the car, her mom would constantly be asking her how much we were paying for makeup artist, dress, photographer, restaurant, and our overall spending budget for the wedding. My fiance gave her all the details. Her mom did not take it well that we were spending about $22,000 on our wedding. Note the fact that we did not ask them for any sort of financial support or give us any sort of big gifts for our wedding. That night, her mom talked to her dad about how unhappy she was after finding out about our wedding budget. He asked my fiancé to call me over to talk about our finances. When I received my fiancé's telephone call, I was not happy to know that her parents wanted to butt into our business, but I am respectful of them as my future in-laws, so I agreed to meet. When I arrived at her parents, just getting off of work, they were telling me how I'm being so wasteful, using so much money on a good photographer, why did we have to invite so many guests, and that we should consider inviting just family and that's it. Then he went on about how come my fiancé is paying 60% of the wedding budget and that typically it should be split. I politely and calmly listened, even though I was steaming inside to think that our parents had the nerve to say all of that. So, after they were done talking, I responded. I said, first and foremost, I know that you are concerned for your daughter and my financial well-being, and you have our best interests in mind, but this is a budget that we've worked, talked, discussed, and agreed upon between both of us. We are not asking you for any financial backing or gifts. We just wanted you to attend the wedding without any concern and be part of our special day. Again, please understand that this is our wedding, and this is what she wants, and if she is not pleased with what we've agreed on, then we can make changes, but this is still between me and her. I continued, while we value your opinion, this is our decision, and we'll discuss this as a couple, and you should not get involved. As for why she's paying 60% of the budget, that is because I'm paying the mortgage to our house and have been handling all the maintenance costs to bring our house to proper living conditions. So I won't have the ability to cover any more than 40%, while her role in our relationship is to buy food and pay for some bills. So she should be able to save more than I can. I finished by saying, also, we're living together already and already have shared everything, except a joint bank account. Any gifts, whether it's cash or items from our wedding, belong to the both of us, so it doesn't really matter who pays more or less. We both discussed this and have agreed, and now that you're trying to jump in and control our finances is not right, and I am not pleased that you are second-guessing our decision as if this is your wedding. Please note, I responded in a low-toned and calm voice. Her parents started to angrily bash my family and how I have to help support my dad, who is 86 years old, and that spending all of this money is irresponsible. I let her parents finish, then told them that they cannot bring my family into this because it is not right, as we are not asking any or either side of our family for financial support. We bought our house and have been living independently for the last 2 years, and I feel like they are too possessive of my fiancée and her finances, that they are going crazy. Now, while all of this is happening, my fiancée is just sitting there and not saying anything, which made me kind of sad and disappointed because I would expect her to defend our decision or at least speak up on our or my behalf because her parents had no right. Also, her parents do not want her to have a joint bank account with me, and they feel she should have control of her own money. Something which I agree on, but the joint bank account would be to cover household costs. After that, I just stopped talking and told them that if they feel like they are not happy about the budget, then she and I will go over it, and if she is unhappy with some of the stuff that we chose, we can make changes, if needed. At this point, her mom and dad were just taking turns making demands. It was no longer suggesting or you should do this. It was more like, I want fewer people to be invited and I want you to pay more money. We went home and went over the budget again and she made some changes and we agreed on it. Then she turned to me and said, "You do know what my parents were trying to get through to you, right?" I said, "No, not really, and it's not right for them to be butting in our business. We're adults, we should be able to make our own decisions." I then told her that in the future, if we have any sort of major issues, decisions, and anything related to finances, then we should discuss them privately in our household and not let her parents intervene. She looked at me in disgust and said that she doesn't care what I want and that she will tell and discuss anything with her parents that she pleases. I countered by telling her that she shouldn't do that because we are a separate family and we should be making and owning our decisions and not letting anyone dictate or question them. It should be between us only. She disagreed. Then I just lost it and I told her that if this is how it is going to go forward, I cannot build any sort of family with her since she's okay with her parents running her life. I'm not telling her not to share or talk to her parents, but there are some things you as a couple want to discuss and keep private. Also, if a sensitive topic is shared, then the communication should be between her and her parents. If they want to give input, then she can come home and we can talk about it. But for her parents to flat out jump in as if it's their business, I just don't feel it's right. So, I called off the wedding the next day and ended our relationship 2 days after that. Of course, she begged and cried for me to reconsider, but it's something I cannot live with. I am saddened by this event and how our relationship ended, but I can't imagine being suffocated by her parents questioning our decisions and running our lives. Also, I put so much into this relationship trying to set a good foundation to build a family, but this just wasn't gonna work with the way things are. I believe to be a centered man and was raised with good values I got from my parents. I don't have any sorts of addiction or gambling, alcohol, or any issues. I was raised to know what a partner's role in a family is and I live by it. I also feel hurt because I believe having your partner's support is paramount. I felt alone, as if I was the only one fighting for us and the family that we're trying to build. Anyway, I just came here for some moral support. Your inputs are greatly appreciated. Well, OP, the first thing I'm going to say is congratulations on that spine. If it's not titanium, it's definitely adamantium. I absolutely agree with everything you said and your views on the partnership and the relationship, and I absolutely understand and back your reasoning to end your engagement and relationship. Not that my support really matters to you, but I absolutely agree with everything you did. Her parents were absolutely out of line, and the fact that she wasn't just comfortable with it, but that she still wanted to keep sharing intimate and financial information with them is a huge red flag. Like you say, it is okay to talk to your parents and share things with them, but there are some things that just need to stay within the couple. Something that other people shouldn't be privy to. Friends, family, anybody. And what do you guys think? Would you have made the same decision as OP? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what they said. Greek dude Yanis says, "She didn't have your back at all, despite the fact that that was the budget you two set for one another. I don't even get what her parents were trying to tell you. You might not have been paying for an equal amount of the wedding itself, but you were taking care of the mortgage. That more than counts, and you're also supporting your family, and you're not even asking either of them for money. Her folks had absolutely no right to get pissy with you, and she should have had your back during that. If she's gonna get upset with you over the wedding, then it wasn't gonna work out in the long run anyway. You made the right choice." Miss Me Pudding says, "It sounds to me like maybe she was having reservations and voiced them to her parents, who then butted in. If this is the case, she doesn't know how to communicate her feelings and used her parents to tell you how she feels. The other possibility is that her parents really are just nosy. Either way, you dodged a huge bullet. Good for you for knowing your boundaries and standing your ground. I agree that your marriage and decisions should stay between the two of you, and if her parents are simply guests who are not paying, then your decisions and budget etc. are absolutely none of their damn business." 875ML says, "Pretty much the same thing happened to me last year with my ex. We dated and lived for 7 years, and I finally met his parents first time last year. They live in another country. After the first time we met and spent 1 month together, they tried to get involved in every single little thing in our lives and tell us what to do and listen to them, and plus non-stop judging me. I did not get along with his parents at all and told my ex the same thing you told your girlfriend. There are things that should be discussed and agreed upon between us and us only. Your parents do not have the right to control us. But my boyfriend said, "They are my parents, they raised me and spent time and money on me, so I need to take care of them and make them happy. And as my girlfriend, I want you to show them the good side of you, to make them like you instead of hate you, and I want the 4 of us to live in the same house happily." So I decided to end our 7-year relationship. He didn't stand up for me when his parents judged and hated me for no reason, which made me very sad and disappointed. He picked his parents over me. Additional information from OP's comments. We had multiple discussions leading up to this. I should have included more information in my original post. Again, we discussed our finances openly and we were on the same page. During the talk with her parents, she didn't speak at all. It kind of led her parents to think that all of this is my idea and that I'm pushing for a fancy wedding, which is not my intention. Anyways, it's our wedding. I wanted her to be happy and do or have whatever it is that it's in our means, and even though we agreed and booked everything, it feels like she needs her parents' approval. I'm not telling her not to talk or share things with her parents, but there are things you don't tell your parents and not letting them get involved. Her having my back was very important to me since both of us had planned and talked about everything throughout the process. It just feels like her parents don't want her to grow up and still be their little girl. And because she didn't talk, it gave me a sense that she is not willing to defend her or my decision. What happens later on when we have kids and her parents want us to do this and that? This situation made me feel like she didn't have my back at all and pretty much picked her parents over me, even though this wedding was a mutual decision between us. Anyway, since the breakup, we've sat down multiple times the past week and went over what had happened. She thinks this is not something big enough to end our relationship and thinks that I was actually being rude to her parents. My response was speechless. I didn't say anything else after that and just listened most of the time when we had a conversation. So I don't see giving her a second chance. She's old enough to know that I need her support until the end of our days, and without it, there's no motivation for me to move forward with anything. Alright, well at this point you'd think, well, OP dodged a bullet and he's out of this thing. But there's 2 updates, so let's move on with the first one. Hi all, I took some time off, I read all the comments and I spent the next few days processing and evaluating everyone's advice, opinions and points of view. I want to first off thank everyone here in the Reddit community for taking the time to comment. During my time off, my ex and I did not talk at all for almost 2 weeks. Then she called and asked if we could go somewhere and talk. I agreed. She started out the conversation by apologizing to me for how inconsiderate she was of the whole situation I was put in. As for my reasoning and actions, she didn't get why I had taken things so seriously with what her parents said, since for her, it was normal and it's something she's grown accustomed to her entire life, so she could not see things from my perspective until given some time for her to think and process it. She knows that I was just trying to set boundaries and that her parents have crossed the line, which is something no one that's been in her life ever did before. Then we talked about the pros and cons of our relationship and she cried and says she still wants us to be together and wants to work things out. After letting her finish, I explained to her that I had no intention of being disrespectful to her parents since I know how much she loves her family, and I went on about how we'll handle future situations. For example, I asked if this sort of thing happens in the future, how would she handle it? She says that if her parents want to get involved, then she'll listen to what they have to say and she'll talk to me about it after, and reassured me that she'll not put me in the same situation that she put me in before. She agrees that we should be making our own decisions, and she can share whatever it is with her parents and listen to their opinions, but the final decision will be up to us. And she does agree there are things that are kept private and should not be discussed with her parents. It's uncharted territory for her, but it's something she understands now, as it's obviously caused problems for us. I was thinking to myself that during our break she took some time to process things and really reflect and see what was happening and what needs to be changed and done. Obviously, I still love her, and during that time, I too did a lot of reflecting on how things could have been different and what I could have done and so on. She did not give up on me, and I don't want to give up on her as she's still fighting for us. I felt we grew stronger during our time apart, especially her. The fact that she initiated our meeting and came to me makes me think that she really thought things through and she was really sincere about everything she said. So after our conversation, I suggested we should sleep on this and meet up for lunch the next day. After our lunch, I told her I didn't want to be with anyone else and that I never thought about being with anyone else, and she says she felt the same. So we're going to give it another try, this time with boundaries set in place for her parents. Wow, this has been the longest 2 months of my life. I'm glad things worked out the way they did, but I wouldn't want to go through this again. It was hell. At the same time, this made me feel we got stronger as a couple and anything was possible. Well, apparently OP and his girlfriend are on the same page now and they both want the same thing out of their relationship. So let's move on to the final update to see how this story ends. It's been a little more than a month since we gave it another go, and I'm sorry to say that nothing had really changed. In fact, things got worse. The first couple of days started out fine. I thought things were going good, but then she started bringing up how I should just go and apologize to her parents and just make them happy so we can settle this. I told her that I didn't do anything wrong and that I thought we had already established a clear understanding of our boundaries and our stance as a couple. Then the whole conversation went south since I didn't want to give in and apologize for something I shouldn't have to. She then gave me the cold shoulder and we had a communication breakdown. I was already stressed out with work as it is, and the drama her parents and partially she had caused me for the last 4 months was really putting a strain on my physical and emotional health. So we decided it was best to part ways. Honestly, I don't really understand why she put in the effort to convince me to give our relationship another try in the first place if her plan was to force me to apologize to her parents. I don't understand how she thought that would somehow solve everything. Well, it is a good thing I was hitting the gym, or else I would have been going crazy. Thank you to all the Reddit supporters. My new life starts now, and this time